Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Jenwa Kush here. If this is your first time coming across a video of mine, I hope you subscribe and you watch my other videos. If you've been here for a while, thank you for subscribing, and please check to make sure that you've subscribed. You might be watching the videos but you've not subscribed, thinking that you have. Just check, make sure. The subscription is free and it means a lot to me. Today I want to talk about me quitting my 8 to 5. My background is in accounts stroke finance. That's what I did a 4-year degree course on, and I proceeded to complete my CPA, which is a very challenging course to do. When I was studying BCom, I did BCom finance. I was not super passionate about it. It was my second option. My first one was to be a dentist, and even thinking about being a dentist, I don't think I would have been passionate about it. So I went for business, which was easier for me, and I got called into school to study, and it was easy studying. Like, it's not a difficult course, and I am a bright student, if I do say so myself. Mm, so I completed the course, not passionate, started work, got my internship, and then finally got a job. My first years in the industry were in the public sector. So sinajua tu gava, like, it's a flexible schedule, sort of flexible. Like, you're not filling in leave days and giving notices if you need to attend to something, and you're not clocking in at exactly 8 a.m. and leaving at exactly 5 p.m. It was flexible, so it was okay. Like, I didn't really think that much about my career because I didn't feel miserable. I was comfortable with the schedule, and I also had a good boss while at it. And then I got in the corporate sector. When I was in the public sector, I used to wonder what my life will be like when I finally transitioned into the corporate world, because it's a strict schedule. It's from 8 to 5, and if you need to miss work, then you must notify your boss, you must apply for leave days, and you're sort of micromanaged. But I decided I will cross the bridge when I get there. So I got a job in the corporate world. Wow. Obviously, with a new job, you're learning new roles, new tasks, like, you're learning new things. Uh, some of it was familiar because it was related to what I was doing previously, but then there was also a lot of new stuff to learn, and I felt reluctant to learn the new things. It was mostly consultancy, so it's proposal writing, business development, meeting to discuss proposals, and then the proposals are not actually in your particular field of study. Like, you could be doing a proposal on water, that means you need to research matters water. Although you're dealing with experts, then they're still things that are totally new to you. I found myself reluctant to learn those new things. uh, I did the job for 9 months, of which 2 months were just a formality for me to complete my notice period, because I started in May 2022, and then in November I took my annual leave, and during that leave I came across a course on travel and tourism, and for some reason I just wanted to do it. My leave days were spread across 3 weeks, and the course was for about 3 weeks, and it was super affordable. So I enrolled for the course and I did it, and during that course I was like, wait, I could actually pursue this because I love traveling. It's something that I have been doing informally, even without realizing that it's a field that I can get into. So I took up the course, I did it, and when it finally ended, something had clicked in my mind that I want to transition careers. So the issue was not necessarily with my job. Like, I knew even if I go to another job, I'll still have an issue with it, with the tight schedule, the inflexibility, the having to put in notice periods and ask someone for permission. It was a lot. Uh, at the time, after completing the course, when I went back to work, I had also completed my probation period because I was in probation for 6 months. I didn't apply for confirmation immediately because I was waiting to see if they will confirm me without me asking. But then they were not communicating, so I wrote to ask for confirmation, and then the boss said we will meet in person. Plus, the confirmation was supposed to come with a salary increase. And during that meeting, nikageuziwa because the salary increment had not been written in my contract. As soon as I saw there wasn't such a clause in the contract, I knew intergeuziwa too. So when it came to it, he said he will confirm me, but the company was not doing so well, so they were not in a position to increase my salary as agreed. And he even said that's why I didn't include it in your contract. Anyway, I had already made up my mind, so I didn't want to put in my notice at the time, but it would also have been awkward for me to wait for him to write my confirmation letter and then tell him, you know what, I've even decided I don't want to stay here. So as soon as he said he will write my confirmation letter, I just told him, I have something to say. We had a meeting previously where he had said that, I don't know, like the whole group was just nonchalant about our jobs. Like, no one was really passionate about anything, and I think the boss had felt that energy. So he had said that he would put us across various fields during proposal writing and even project management so that we will see which areas were exciting for us. Then you're not working on something that is not exciting for you. And during the meeting, I was just thinking, wait, I don't think there's any field of this whole thing that will be interesting enough for me. So during our one-on-one meeting, I told him, you know, when you say that you will put us into different tasks so that we can see what you're passionate about, and I am thinking this is not for me. I want to transition careers. I was just honest because the workforce where I was at, we were generally young people and our bosses were older, so it felt as if they were our mentors somehow. It felt like a parent-child relationship. So I just said the truth. I told him I want to transition careers, so I will leave this and then I'll go start school, study in another field. I was disappointed. He didn't express it. He also couldn't hold me. He couldn't make me stay, so he just said it's okay. So I put in my 1 month notice, which I served in January. Okay, it was exciting knowing that I'm exiting anyway, but it was also a lot of work. So during when I was in that job, which was still new to me, I was mostly learning new things. I felt myself reluctant to learn them. And I figured if I'm going to be learning new stuff, why not learn these things in something that I could actually be interested in instead of having to learn these things and then my bosses will be comfortable because they've trained me and now they expect me to get the job done, but I am not enjoying the job, eventually have to leave and then go learn the things that I'm actually interested in. It wouldn't have been fair for any of us, like for myself and for my bosses. Yeah, I'm a good person, had them in mind. Actually felt guilty leaving because the project that I had been assigned to, I was the one who was most familiar with it. So they were heavily depending on me, and I just couldn't bring myself to keep at it. Actually, when I got in, I knew the 8 to 5 thing wouldn't have been my thing for so long, but then the first phase of the project that I had been assigned to was for 2.5 years. So in my head, I knew I can do 2.5, and then after that, I'll figure things out. But once the idea to leave something clicks in my mind, it really clicks. I try to work out the facts before leaving just because of an emotional click inside of me, and even the facts were adding up. So I thought about it. I thought about the decision because you know how our parents are. They keep telling us to be grateful for having a job, and I can see why they say that. Because if your mind is set on finding a job, it becomes frustrating when you can't find one. It's not the same for when you don't want to be in a certain job, like it's different circumstances, but I knew living will have had me having a conversation with my mother, telling her that I am quitting a job, and to her a job is security, like a job is the next best thing in your life. It's like a rite of passage. So I needed to get my information correct, like have an explanation for my mother. I told her I was leaving the job to transition, I will go back to school. The explanation that I was going back to school to study something else was comforting for everyone, and even for me, because as much as I like flexibility, I have been super conditioned to be in a structure. So I knew even if I leave, I'm going to be in another system, so I won't be stranded. After leaving, the plan actually was for me to find a course and enroll. After leaving, I was like, no, I'm not going to move from one system into another system. So I'm going to take time to do my research, to really think about it, and to also be out of the system, like to freestyle and see how everything goes. So I checked my finances, I established my mandatory expenses for every month, and I had established an emergency fund, so that was going to hold me for a year. My expenses are pretty low, like if I'm not adding extras, sijui raha, sherehe, and luxuries, because I don't have major bills, I still live at home. I figured this will be the best opportunity for me to take such risks, because if say I move out now, I have rent and I am supposed to feed myself, I'll just end up depending on the salary, and it will be so hard for me to make the jump. So I might as well make that jump while I don't have expenses like that. Like I could have 3K for a month and survive as long as I'm eating and I have somewhere to sleep. Plus, I had side hustles. I was selling clothes and I was selling games. So they were not doing that well, but I knew it's because I was also not putting in enough effort. Like I couldn't complain and I wasn't really giving it my all. So I figured when I'm not going to work, then I can work on my side hustles. Now, those will have been my main businesses, like my main hustles. of which that has been the case for the last how many months, since Feb, because that's when I left. But even after leaving, I was good at my job, so I will get called in once in a while to help with a few things, and I will get paid here and there. So that added to my emergency fund. Plus, tuseme tu biashara hapa na pale, like I have not even had to rely on my emergency fund post quitting. Like I still worry about the future because sometimes I do the math and I'm like, if I still had salary, I would have saved quite a lot of money. But also, I'm grateful because I'm not running into negatives. It's like I just get enough to maintain my life as it is. So I am not going back, like I'm not on the negative side of the scale. I'm just balancing. Like bado sijaanza kutip, like going up, but so far so good. I can't say that it was the best decision of my life, but I'm glad I chose me, because had I stayed there because of fear and getting comfortable with a salary, I would have been settling. Like I knew the whole thing was not working for me. I didn't know what life would have been post quitting, would have been like post quitting, but I knew I needed to leave. And so I left. But before leaving, I this is my journal. I did a table format. These reasons to leave and reasons to stay. I took my time to really think about it. In December, my head was literally hurting from just thinking about it. It was such a tough decision to make. But I've also had the same feeling before. I've left relationships that were good, but they were not working for me. I think I'm really in tune with myself, so I realize when something is not working for me. I might try to hold on for the benefits or because of circumstances, but deep down, I know the truth. So, my reasons to stay were the salary, because that's guaranteed money. The job gave me a defined structure, it gave me societal conformity, financial safety, and I was also to stay because I was scared. I wouldn't have disappointed my supervisor. Had I stayed, I couldn't have failed. So I, like, on this side of reasons to stay, I wrote I could fail. So that means like if I leave I could fail. So I'm staying because if I leave I could fail. Plus, what if I regret? What if they gave me a raise? Like somewhere in the back of my mind, I was still thinking, what if they gave me a raise and then the salary seemed too good to leave? But I have reflected on it on the other side. And then it seems rude to quit after applying for job confirmation. When I was sending in the confirmation letter, like asking them to confirm me, it had not quite clicked that I could really leave. And then my reasons to leave, it's not the career that I want to pursue. 8 to 5 sucks the life and creativity out of me. I'll have more time to work on my businesses. I could eventually earn more than salary. I challenge myself to do what I really want. Another reason, I have mom's support. So my mother has been supportive in her own ways, in her own capacity. Like it's there's a difference when someone supports you without understanding you. You wish they could also understand, but you also know that they could also be unsupportive. So I appreciate that she has been supportive although she doesn't really understand. Another reason to leave, I will be alright eventually. Then I can't see myself here meaning job, in the next 5 years. I really couldn't, baby. There's not much to save even if I stay another year. I toyed with the idea of holding in for another year and then I would save up more, but I was doing the projection and was like, a whole year to just save this much amount. No. And then I don't like working for my boss. Hey, that man. Another reason, I am resisting the growth that the job offers. Then the last one, even with double my current pay, I could still not be happy. It's not about the money. Inafika deep place, I was saying it's not about the money. It was serious. And then I did another tea table. This was, oh, I actually researched and I watched a lot of content on YouTube around quitting your job, and I came across a resource that said you should do a worst case scenario versus the solutions. Like, let's say you quit. What will be your worst case scenario and how will you resolve that? So that you can see it's not that bad. Like, it's not the end of the world. Your worst case scenarios will come to pass, but if you have solutions, then you'll just be fine. So my worst case scenario one was my businesses fail to pick up. I said the solution is I will have a background in travel and I can look for a job. Another worst case scenario, no money to fully register a company. And then I write, plan trips till the money adds up. No customers to travel and pay. Look for a job stroke internship. Being stranded post travel course. Work on my businesses as I apply for jobs. Deplete my emergency fund. Look for a job. My mental health deteriorates. Give myself grace, attend therapy, maintain a positive mindset, and keep trying. It was not actually that bad, it was doable, and I made the leap. So, I was journaling a lot at the time. I want to read entries from dates around my quitting. This was in December. I hope I won't come across anything incriminating here. December 2022. Hello, today is Wednesday. I had a therapy session today. My head is hurting from too much thinking. I have been thinking of quitting my job. That is not news. My fear is not having that money that I am paid a salary. As it is, I can live off my emergency fund for 6 months. Not comfortably, but I am willing to make that sacrifice. My monthly expense is coming to this much. If I live off the emergency fund, I can do that for 7 months. In my projected monthly expenses, I will have airtime, I will have Wi-Fi, I'll have pocket money, I will be able to pay up help, I'll save towards a medical insurance, and I can save towards my policy. I don't want to say the figures. I really hate that I'm uncomfortable mentioning figures. I have a certain amount of self-care stroke skincare money. I can use that. I can use that because my needs are few. Profits towards my business will go to a savings for those 6 months. I will travel off my travel account for leisure and business. It is not much, but I hope the trips bring something in. I have an account for school fees and fare. I hope in those 6 months my businesses peak and prosper. After the 6 months, I will figure out what next. It is never that serious. What I need to do now is leave the job. I don't know if I am ready to. I will not rush the action, but the decision is made. My therapist says I might be making an emotional decision because a distant cousin of mine, okay, trigger warning, suicide. A distant cousin of mine killed himself. The theory is that life became hard financially. He was away from home and he was struggling. The math was not mathing. I think he should have gone back home and started over. It is never that serious. You'd rather be happy having made a hard decision that society will probably frown over than dead out of frustrations. My therapist says I am personalizing that occurrence and hence the decision, which she says is rushed. I don't want to disagree on the emotional part. I will allow my thoughts to settle before resigning. I, however, don't think that my cousin has much to do with the decision. To me, this is how I usually make my decisions. I think about things for a really long time, then decide it's time. The decision still scares me as fuck. I know it is good for me, but the conditioning to follow the norm is deep rooted. I should find a way to mourn my cousin now that I won't attend the burial. I am supposed to pick my sister from a seminar. My boss called today. We have been missing each other's call. I wonder what he wants. I end my journals with a sentence of what I am grateful for and what I am proud of myself for. I am grateful for the privilege of not having bills, such that I can consider quitting my job and not worry about food and rent. I am proud for considering a decision to live my life in purpose, to choose a life for me. So, around the time when I was deciding, this cousin of mine had killed himself because life was really tough on him, and I think he just didn't want to go back home. I can empathize, but it did something to me. I was like, you know what, like, mtanikasirikia juu ya kuacha kazi, and this situation can get so much worse. Like, not threatening, but the way I see things is like, this is not anything considering to all the negative repercussions that could befall this if it, kept escalating. So I was like, life is not that serious. It really isn't. Bora niko hai, we'll figure it out. And then I will read from the day that I quit. That was Feb. So there's an entry for date 30 and for date 31. Date 30 was on a Monday. Hello, today is Monday. I didn't get a chance to journal yesterday because I mostly journal on Sundays. So I carried you to the office. I don't feel the Monday blues as such, mostly because I exit tomorrow. I am excited. I don't worry too much about money. I know things will align eventually. I just have to put in the work and trust the process. I love that I am choosing a life that I want for myself instead of what everyone else believes is right for me. It feels like choosing happiness. I already have a to-do list for the rest of the week post 8 to 5, and I can't wait to jump on it. I missed work on Friday. The office had a strategic meeting at a hotel that I was not invited to. It feels a bit sad to be excluded, but also it is not something that I would have wanted to be part of. I had the option of going to the other office today, but I did not. I didn't feel like it. I still have pending bookkeeping to complete. If I don't make it tomorrow, I might extend to Wednesday and do half day maybe so that I do reconciliation too. I don't plan on doing too much this week. I will plan for next week and the rest of the month. I have played so many scenarios of what could go wrong in my head. Overthinking, huh? I am proud of myself for pushing through the month stroke my notice period. I am grateful to begin a new phase of my life. And then this is date 31. Hello, today is Tuesday, the 31st of January. The month is over. I have completed my notice period, meaning I am completely out of the 8 to 5. I am excited, to be honest. As much as I'm scared, I am excited to live life on my own terms. I was at the other office today. I see myself going in again this week, possibly on Thursday or Friday. I'm okay with going to do recon, but after this week, I will only expect to go in if I am being paid. I have done recon for my businesses in Jan and made X amount. That is good considering my target was whatever. I am encouraged because I have made that amount in January and being in employment. I see myself reaching the target considering I'll have time to strategize and push sales. I need to watch content on freelance, being in business, living outside of 8 to 5. I need to encourage myself because I keep focusing on how bad it could get without a salary. I am living life to live life. I don't want to be fixated on a structure within the matrix. I want to be free in terms of time, mentally, and financially. I am now free time wise, and I know the rest will align. I am proud I held through January and made it through the notice period. I am grateful for getting to the life I can now create to be mine. Yeah. I think after quitting, I was mostly excited for a while because I had made a hard decision. So I was in some sort of bubble, like I had moments of anxiety, thinking about what if whatever I have in my mind doesn't work out. And then the bubble burst, and I was like, wow, this is my reality now. My life is in my hands. I am not waiting for a salary and month. As much as I don't have bills, like there's still some expectation from everyone around me and also from myself to be able to live, to afford myself. Like, say I moved out to be able to afford rent and to afford food and to afford a few comfortable items here and there, a few conveniences. Like, there's still that pressure. But I also got to a point, I think just recently, a point of, they call it radical acceptance. Like, it is what it is, this is where I am at. I am grateful I don't have bills. but I also need to make more money, but we are focusing a day at a time, like I am doing my best every day. It's not easy, like life is seemingly difficult in my head mostly because of all the expectations that I have for myself, but I'm also super delusional. Okay, that's to say I am positive, I am optimistic that things will align eventually, and I have seen the efforts that I've been putting in compounding. Like in a particular month, I'll feel like I've done so much and gotten so little, but then in the following month, it feels like my efforts from last month are paying in this month. It's a roller coaster, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of gloomy days, and some carefree days, but I love my life if I am being honest. Like, it could only get better from here, and it's a better that I want for myself. So it was a calculated risk, and I'm glad I made it. And my calculations were accurate. Like, I have survived a year from Feb to now. Like, imebakisha tu mwezi moja, and niko tu, and I am happier actually. I am happier. It's not all about the money. Plus, after taking a few things out of the equation, like, hata nikitafuta pesa, it's money for me. It's money to do things for myself, to live a life on my own terms. Sina pressure ya ati money to pay school fees, money to put towards a child's education policy or fund. Like, it's money for skincare, it's money to travel, it's money to put up investment so that someday I am earning passive income. Like, it's really for me, and this life too is for me. That's it for this one. Thank you for watching. Please engage with me in the comment section. Have you ever thought of leaving the 8 to 5? Have you already left it? Like, what are your thoughts around it? Thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.